Yeah, it was great being back at the Rock in front of a sold out crowd again. Again, the energy our students and fans bring, it makes us a special place. It's a huge impact on our wins and losses here. And our number one goal was to win the football game. We accomplished that. We want to be +2 in the turnover battle. We didn't accomplish that, and so a lot of things to work on. I thought we played a very good team in ETSU, but we have a lot of work to do to be where we want to be come this season.
Thank you, Coach. Just a reminder to members of the media, if you have a question, just go into reactions and raise your hand. We'll be happy to call on you. We'll let that populate here real quick. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Hey, Coach Clark. What were some of the adjustments you guys made at halftime? Obviously, went up 17-0. ETSU was able to score before the half, and then you guys were able to rattle off the last 21 points of the game. Any adjustments you guys made at halftime to be able to kind of run away with it there?
Well, I thought we came in the game, we started fast, which we wanted to do, and we finished strong. But like you mentioned, we had a lull there in the late in the second quarter through the third quarter. But again, offensively, we had to do a better job of handling the pressure up front, and I thought we got better in the second half. And then, I thought we did a better job blocking on the perimeter. And then on defensive, we had, two big plays we gave up. One was an 80-yard run, and one was a 23-yard pass. And that's 104 yards of their total offense on two plays. So. Again, we didn't make much adjustment. We had to play better, which I thought we did toward the end of the third and in the fourth quarter.
And then, Coach, as you kind of transition to look towards next week, have you had a chance to look at any film on Clemson from this past weekend, and then just kind of maybe a couple of keys for you guys to be able to be successful in that matchup?
Yeah, we turned the page yesterday on ETSU and started on Clemson last night, and we turn the tape. It's just wow. They have a great football team. Coach Sweeney's done a great job of establishing his culture the way they want to play. And again, I don't think the score of the Georgia Clemson game was indicative of how good they are. You look up front on defense. They have 6 defensive linemen. They're going to be NFL draft picks, and they can fly around defense. Offensively, they have playmakers, and we have to do a great job keeping things in front of us, and we have to be in the game in the fourth quarter. And we've been in these situations before, and again, it's a tough challenge. We understand that, but again, we look forward to playing Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
Jump over to Mike Barber. Mike?
Morning, Coach. A little more into Clemson. When you look at Cade Klubnik, what are his strengths? What are some of the areas that you've seen him maybe develop in? What challenges does he present?
He presents a lot of challenges, especially the way Riley Garrett calls an offense. I mean, he makes you he spreads the field. The quarterback gets the ball in his hands quick. They have a really good offensive line. It's one program that I've studied throughout my career is Clemson. And again, to me, the quarterback's improved so much from last year, and he's got more calmness about him in the pocket. He gets the ball rid of the ball quick and gets it to his playmakers. So we're to play our very best to have a chance to win on Saturday.
And you've been at this for a while. Do you have a sense of a feel of is it better to face a team when they're coming off a performance like that? Is it a dangerous spot because of their mindset? What's been your experience over your career?
I don't think it's ever a great time to pick Clemson, but again, I'm sure I'm not speaking for Coach Sweeney, but he'll have his team ready to play. There's no doubt about it. There's a reason why he's been in this profession for such a long time. He's the ultimate pro of what he does, and you look at his program from afar. That's what you want to be and aspire to be one day. So he'll have his team ready to play. That's a tough place to play. I put there as a player in '98 or '97, I believe, and it's one of the best atmospheres in all college football.
Thank you.
Jump over to Luke Creasy. Luke?
You used several different running backs. A lot of guys saw time. What do you like out of that room as a whole? I know you guys have been good at running the ball, historically, but what about this group is special?
Well, I like all 4 running backs, and we have different packages for different running backs. And there was a time we had 3 running backs in the game this past week. So again, each one brings something different to the table. But again, we're going to need that going forward this season because of our conference. And we have a tough non-conference schedule starting again this week with Clemson. So we'll have some bangs and bruises throughout the season, but I feel very confident in all 4. And we're glad they're on our football team.
Well, we'll go back over to Sam. Sam?
Coach Clark, what is it about Christian Horn? It seems like every time you turn around, he's having an explosive play, has an 83-yard touchdown catch this week. What is it about him that makes him so dynamic as a wide receiver for you guys?
First, this is his 5th year in our system. He understands what to do, where to be, and how to maintain leverage on the defender. Again, he got very good speed. He's got great ball skills, and again, I just think what kind of person he is. He's a 2-time captain of our football team. The way he works is second to none. So he's done a great job taking care of his body and knowing it's going to be a long season. So again, just very proud of Christian, the way he keeps to come to work every single week, and the way he plays is the way he practices. We have a saying here that, practice execution is game day reality, and that the long play that he caught the second play of the game, he did that in practice all throughout fall camp. So I'm just very proud of him, the way he represents our program.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
I gotcha. Yeah, it was a good victory. Our guys played really well. I was really proud of the way we went down. I thought on all 3 phases of the game, we executed at a really high level and against a good football team. And, it was great to see that. Great to see a lot of new players go out there and make plays. And so, obviously it's one game. We got a lot of work still to go through the season. So we're excited to get after it and have the opportunity to play at home this week.
Thank you, Coach. Just a reminder, if you have a question, just go to reactions to raise your hand. We'll start off with Mike Barber.
Good morning, Coach. Just some initial impressions on William and Mary. What impresses you that they do well?
They're a veteran football team. They've won. They're a physical group up front. Really good left tackle. They got a good football team. You got to beat them. Like they take care of the ball. They understand the game. And they play well. They're a very well coached football team that doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
And in personnel wise, I know they've got a few running backs that they use. Are they similar players, or are they doing different things with the different guys when they rotate them through?
Yeah, they do some different things. They have a lot of unique formation sets. So sometimes, bring in different guys will play quarterback. They might have I'm calling it like a 2-quarterback system. And so they do a lot of different things to make you be gap sound, fundamentally sound. And then they try to take advantage if you're not. And, they run the ball well. They create big plays in the passing game. They throw some screens out there. So, they make you play the whole field. And they make you play, and you got to be physical, and you got to tackle well.
Thank you.
Over to Alan.
Hey, Coach, just a couple of quick questions about Zach Elam. What happened to him, injury-wise?
Zach, he tore his ACL. He's out for the year.
And when did that happen?
It happened in fall camp. I'm trying to remember when. Actually, I think it was up at NC State. Yeah.
Okay. And was he voted a team captain before or after the injury?
We voted after. Yeah, after.
All right. Well, that seems pretty impressive that the team would vote him a captain, knowing that he was probably out for the year, right?
Correct. Yep.
Do you want to just speak, if you could speak to that a little bit, just about the respect he has on the team, and for him to be voted a captain knowing he wasn't playing?
Yeah, Zach was a very instrumental leader for our football team all summer, all spring. He had been a veteran player, strength up the middle, right? In all sports, you want strength up the middle, and he provided that. He provided great leadership, toughness. He's one of those guys that didn't have a problem getting on people if they weren't doing the right things. And so I think the team had a lot of respect for him. I think everyone felt he was going to be one of those guys. Obviously, I brought him to the Sun Belt Conference media days because I felt his leadership and I felt his respect from the football team, right? So losing him hurts your football team, certainly. But Thomas Johnson actually started the first probably 4 games for us a year ago before he got hurt and hurt his knee, and Zach took over for him. So it's kind of a flipping story, so to speak.
And just the last one for me on that. So do you think Zach will still be able to provide something to the team, even though he's not going to be on the field?
Oh yeah, his presence is very well. Our guys feel him all the time. He's at all the practices and all the meetings. He does everything. So he's he's kind of like a coach, so to speak, right now.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, well, thank you, Alan. We'll jump over to Sam. Sam.
Coach Beck, you had 4 different running backs go for 45 plus yards. 3 of those guys got 10 or more carries. What do you like about that group, and what do you see kind of getting different looks with those different guys?
Yeah, once again, I think we have a really strong room. I feel confident in all those guys, and they did a great job. They all, I'll be honest, I think most of these running backs that we have are all very, very similar. They all can run inside well. They have good vision. They break tackles. They all can catch. I think Braden and Javen probably have the best speed of the group. But I don't think there's anything that we're going to ask those running backs to do in our offense that we would be like, hey, this guy's really not very good at it. Or even to an extent of like, this guy's so much better than the other guy at it. They're all comparable guys. And, you're going to need them through the course of the season. So I'm glad we have all those guys.
And then how would you assess Ethan's performance? Obviously started 4 of the last 5 games last season, but coming in as the week 1 starter for you guys.
Yeah, I was very pleased. I thought he did a great job. For the most part, took care of the football, made really good decisions, except on the 1 interception. Ran the ball efficiently, when we needed him to, but he just ran the offense. One of the things that really impressed me, I think we had 5 penalties through the course of the game. I don't think we had any false starts, offsides, things of that nature. When you watch the first game on the road, bunch of new players, you expect to see that a lot, and our guys didn't do that. So the coaches did a great job having the players ready to play.
Time for one more. We'll go over to Joe Longer. Joe.
Coach, I hopped on a second late, so I apologize if someone already asked this, but your defense looked like it allowed, or rather it forced Jacksonville State into a position where they never really felt comfortable. What was your overall assessment of how they played on Thursday?
Yeah, I was really pleased. You go back and look at the game stats in the first 3 quarters, we gave up 180 yards and 10 points, and on a rich rod offense. Like, that doesn't happen much. And they're a good football team. Had a couple of really good offensive linemen, some good running backs, veteran quarterbacks. Our guys played really well. They played assignment sound. They ran to the football. We tackled well. We created a big momentum play and a turnover. So I was really pleased with that first and second group.
All right. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. See you guys.
Opening statement, obviously came out really proud of our coaches, proud of our team to come out and get an opening win, a big win. We broke a 10-game losing streak at home. I thought that the crowd, the town, the city is really starting to rally around this program and these players. And I thought we took a big step. We faced some adversity from the get-go. We just got done with a pregame meal, around 2:45, and then we get the call and we've got a 2-hour lightning delay, or a 2-hour delay to push it back because of the weather and lightning. So I thought our kids handled adversity right off the bat well. They stayed focused. And I really like how we prepared going into our first football game.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, if you have a question, just go to reactions and raise your hand. We'll be happy to call on you. We'll start off with Sam. Sam, please go ahead.
Coach Vincent, maybe just talk about Ahmad Hardy's performance as a true freshman coming in and really being a great running back for you guys, having a really strong kind of week 1 debut.
We felt like he was a violent runner when we signed him, and he was a physical runner that ran well behind his pads. We get him here. He has a tremendous summer, works extremely hard. Is in the film room. He's not your typical freshman, true freshman coming in. He had a tremendous fall camp. Each day he just got better and better and better, and really earned the opportunity. He earned the opportunity, and I think he's still growing and developing, and just really excited about him and really the future and his growth. And the thing about Ahmad is he's humble and he's hard on himself. He wants to be great, and he does the things to give himself that opportunity. So I was very proud of his performance.
Go over to Adam. Adam, please go ahead.
Coach Vincent, your team allowed 2.5 yards to carry, held Jackson State under 65 or 60 yards on the ground for the game. What do you think really helped the defensive line get that push, and your defense as a whole to come together as a unit to put that attack at bay?
I think it all starts up front. I think our defensive line has got good depth. I think we play hard. I think we're tough. I think we're twitchy and powerful. I think that you go from Billy Pullen to Dylan Howe to Jalen Ware, to Vontae Wells, and then you bring in Tristan Shorter, and you've got Earl Barquette, and you've got Alvino, and we've got some depth, and we've got some guys that we feel like we're going to get back pretty soon up front, that we like our depth and the guys that we've got, and just really the effort and the twitch and toughness up front. And our inside backers, we feel like we've got really 5 guys, with Carl Glass and Tyrese Hopkins. We feel like are really intelligent, savvy, physical backers that understand their fits. And then you bring in Cedric Langston and Dan Knutson also. So we feel like our box play is really good, and they did a great job. Obviously, the back end has got to be able to do their job also with our safeties fit. Wydette Williams had an outstanding game, from our boundary safety position, and Carl Fontroy, I thought had a really good game from our field safety position.
Let's go over to Luke Creasy. Luke.
Coach, UAB up next, a program you know well, have a history with. What's it going to be like being on the opposite sideline from those guys?
Well, it's just really, it's the next game up. They just happen to be our week 2 opponent. This is about us, and really what kind of growth can we make from 1 to 2? We had a lot of pre-snap penalties. We had a lot of first game, I hope, situations arise that really stalled drives and hurt us in the game. But, got a lot of fond memories, a lot of great moments there, from the first conference championship in school history to the first bowl win in school history to being bowl eligible, being a part of that run, which was probably, one of the best, group of 5 runs in football history. Really, if you think about it, you win 3 West championships in a row in 18, 19, and 20. You win a conference championship in 18 and 20. You win the first bowl game in 18. You beat BYU, ranked 13th in the Shreveport Bowl, to being the interim head coach in 22 and going to win the Bahama Bowl. So, obviously great memories there, a lot of great relationships, but this is about ULM. This is about our players. This is about our town and our university, and us being able to take the next step and play in a really good, football team.
Jump over to Joe. Joe, please go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, in a situation like the other day where you had the lightning delay, at that point, what do you do? Because there's only so much preparation you can do throughout the week. So how do you bypass those last couple hours?
The thing we did, you just got to be prepared to handle the moment. So, okay, you eat pregame meal right at 3.5 hours before game time. That's kind of our routine. So we do that and we're done, and then we get that 2-hour delay. So the first thought is, nutrition, food, gas, fuel, having all those things available really that 3.5 hours before. So then you really kick into 4:30, instead of 2:30. So I thought our staff, our strength staff, our training staff, our coaches did a great job of making sure we had the nutrition available and the fuel. We were able just to really have another 45 minutes to 50 minutes at the West Monroe Sports Clinic. So we were able to go there, and then really being at home, I thought it was an advantage because we're in our locker room, we're in our weight room, our training room, our taping room. And at the end of the day, I thought it was an advantage, and our kids stayed focused. They never lost their focus. We never shied away or varied away from our game day mentality.
Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for you today. Do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to get a first win here. I said it after
the game, but a lot of work obviously went into that from December. 60 some new guys on the team and working through all of that, building a staff, going through everything is Coach Vincent just said. And I just think those are the things that to get a win in the first one is, certainly helps a lot. Our guys thought did a really good job. We got home really late on Sunday morning and then came back out here, just got off the field today, and they're in, good shape, good spirits, and excited for this opportunity this weekend. But, it was a good play, nice crowd down there. I thought that, they played extremely hard in the first half. It was a tough game. And I think like every game one, it takes a minute to work things out. Our second half was significantly better than our first half. And when you have that many new people coming together and trying to, put a product on the field, there's just, as we all know, so many moving parts in football. And until you figure out exactly the flow of everything, you can practice it as much as you want, but until you get in game, it takes a minute. And that's what happened. I thought by the time we got to the second half, we were clicking on all cylinders, and I really like our play from there on in. So overall, a really good day. And I think our guys had a chance to put some stuff on film and a ton of things on film that we need to work on. So good start.
Thank you. We'll start off with Mike Barber. Mike.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the improvement kind of second half from first half. Alonzo had a couple turnovers in the first half. I know you're a guy that kind of hates turnovers, as most coaches do. When you saw the fumble on the sack or the interception, I think it was a 3rd and long play. Red flags or not things that you were too concerned about?
Well, that interception, that's not on him. Has nothing to do with him. That interception was, we thought they jumped off sides because they looked like they jumped off sides. And I think from the angle I saw, they were offsides, but the ref didn't see it that way. So there was no flag. So he's throwing it up on a free play in his mind. And it wasn't a free play. I think OD's got to get the ball down if that's the case and not allow it to turn into an interception. So that doesn't have another option there except for to throw it up. And I thought he did a nice job of it. I think that he's got to put the ball in the field of play and competitive. And I think the receivers got to get the ball down. The other one, we just missed we had a running back helping on that one. So the tackle underset it and our running back didn't see that call. So, I mean, you get hit by that kid. Those are some really good DNs. You get hit by that kid coming off the edge. That's a tough ball to hang on to. So I think we could have fell on top of that ball instead of trying to scoop it and run. But ultimately, neither of those. One's a miscommunication. The other one is exactly what he's supposed to do. So had zero concern at that point.
How did he win the starting job? What did he do that separated him?
I think his consistency each and every single day. I think that, as you all saw, he throws the long ball really, really nice. He is on time. He's accurate, very catchable football, and just a great leader. And Dylan's the same. So, this was like I said it many times, they're two really good ones. And when you have two really good ones, that's really a tough decision. I just absolutely applaud Zoe for being able to jump in there, go through everything he went through a year ago, still stay faithful and believe in himself and get out there. And even with a decently slow start, ultimately on us as coaches, I thought he did a really good job of hanging in there, keeping his confidence and finishing the game like he knew he could. Scoring with 50 some seconds right before half and then scoring again with under, in the first 30 seconds of that second half are a big deal. And that just leads us to a point where, to put 14 points on the board in that middle 8 and really middle two minutes is a big deal. But I thought Zoe did a great job. And then I also just absolutely applaud, Dylan Morris and just the way he carried himself throughout the game and what he did and the way he did it was really, he is a great young man, a great teammate, a great man. He's not even a young man anymore, but a great teammate and just a phenomenal human being. I was very, very impressed and proud of him and the other guys too. Billy Atkinson there does a great job as well with just the information, and whoever the quarterback is, I know that they have full support from the guys in that room, and that's special. And that doesn't happen everywhere.
And last one for me real quick, but what's been your reaction to Alonzo's kind of viral flop there on the
we talked about it this morning, but it cost us 15 yards. We had 15. I think maybe one roll and one little thing would be good, but I think I mean you came away with a win. It's not something we want to major in. It's something we really probably want to ever do again. But I mean, they're having fun out there. That's what I love to see. I love to see them having fun, and that's what they're doing right now, which is great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. We'll jump over to Joe. Joe?
Yeah, Coach, I think you covered most of what I wanted to ask in that last response. But with Alonzo, I guess if there's one thing you want to see him improve on from week to week based on what you saw in that first game, what would it be?
Yeah, I just think that, coming off the sideline, hurrying up and getting everybody set, he did a good job. There was a couple of times that the clock, was close to expiring, and he'd look up and see it a little bit later. But I think just having a full awareness of all of it. To be honest, there's not too much in there. Maybe one protection call we might have missed, and that's about it. I mean, he was as calm and as exciting and having as much fun at the same time as you possibly can. And at the same time, I thought he managed the game really well. He managed the sideline so well, being on the iPads, on the headset with Dean up top. Just really, when you get to the side, they're just adding value and ready to go back out on the field and even improve more. And that's, he doesn't go to the side and hang his head or throw his helmet. He goes to the side and gets right back to work. And that is, impressive. I don't need to see any more from that. I just need him to continue that.
Go over to Shane. Shane.
Yeah, Bob, I neglected to ask you on Saturday, but Taji Hudson, Dylan Williams were both listed on the 2 deep, neither played. Do you have any update on their status?
No, Taji's really close, right? He was very close in pregame. He ran around and just wasn't feeling 100%. And then Dylan Williams is fine. We just got to get him in the game, but Taji is close. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And we got time for one more. We'll go over to Jackson. Jackson.
Hey, Coach, you talked about it a little bit in your opening statement, but I couldn't help notice on the broadcast, you kind of had that moment at the end of the game, you're hugging your dad, kind of just going around on the sideline, just seemed very happy. Just how does it feel to just kind of have this first one out of the way and have it be a W in the books?
It feels great. It feels great. I think, there's a lot of people that put a lot into this and sacrificed a lot, to get to any coach you're going to talk to at any point. But when you're taking over a new team and have that many transfers and building a new staff, there's just a lot that goes into it. So, that's a guy that's been obviously with me since day one. And as my father, it's cool having him on the sideline. And my little guy was out there running around too, which was cool. He was charging the iPads and filling up the Gatorade. And that's how I remember growing up. I remember growing up on the sideline. I remember being at all those games, and, it was never, it was just what we did and the passion I have for the game. That's when I get just so, excited to watch our guys have that same passion. There's so many times you hear this said, it's a business. And I think, yes, there's a business element to it, but it should be 10% business and 90%, transformational for these guys playing a game that they absolutely love with people that they're going to, be on a journey with for the rest of their life. And that's what, breaks my heart when I watch, modern day football, how it goes and just what's happening now. And I hope, there's the ability to recenter. So when our guys play with passion and play with excitement and love what they're doing, that's what makes me, really, really proud.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Okay, cool.
Jackson. Thank you, Coach. Have a great day. Appreciate your time.
All right, I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, a big win, 1-0. It's all that matters. Obviously, it wasn't pretty. We jumped out on them early and kind of put it in cruise control, and so we got to get better as a football team, as a coaching staff. But we're always going to celebrate the wins around here, and we're 1-0 versus a good quality opponent. Credit to Lamar for being ready and giving us all we wanted. Questions?
All right, we'll start off with Wes Pruitt. Wes?
Yeah, Coach, just real quick, what's your thoughts on Lincoln Pear being able to get back on the field following his injuries? And then secondly, what's your thoughts on UTSA coming to town?
Yeah, Lincoln is a big time leader for us. He's on our leadership council. He was basically like a second running back coach for us last year, and just provided that stability in that room, and him and Ish are great leaders in there, and it was great to see him back on the field. And I thought he played really well. I thought he showed good burst, great ball security, and just someone we can really depend on. And then obviously UTSA, great opponent, really well coached, great scheme, great players. It's going to be quite the challenge for us.
All right, we'll jump over to Jackson. Jackson, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk in the offseason about Jordan McLeod coming down there for you guys. What did you think of his performance in this first game?
I thought he played well. I thought we started off really fast. I thought his eyes were in the right spots. I thought he threw the ball really well. I thought he made good decisions. Just talking to him, just, filling out, the receivers and the flow of the game, I think anytime you can do it in practice, you can do it in scrimmage settings, but until you're really out there under the lights, it's always a little different. So I'm sure he'll make a big jump from week 1 to week 2.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go over to Jacob Rodriguez. Jacob.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Happy Labor Day.
Morning.
I wanted to talk more about UTSA. Does the match mean anything more in year 2 for you?
I don't think so. Obviously, it was a big game for us last year, and it'll be a big game for us this year. And like I said, man, obviously everyone knows the history between me and Coach Traylor, and it's not just Coach Traylor though. I mean, you look at their coaches on their staff. I either played for them in high school, played for them in college, or have a relationship with them somehow, or work with them at Arkansas. I mean. You pretty much just go down the list of their coaches, and we either played for them, coached for them, or something like that. So really, really big game for us personally, but obviously as a university and school, it's a big game as well, rivalry game. And once again though, man, those guys are really, really good.
Go over to Sam.
Hey, Coach Kinne. Joey obviously had kind of the crazy catch, staying in bounds and able to score on it. Is that something you're able to coach, or is that just something he's born with? And what do you think of his performance, this weekend?
Yeah, I'd like to say I coached that. I had nothing to do with that. That was, his parents right there. So he's a heck of a player, man. He tends to find those, and obviously people see the staying in bounds touchdown. He hurdled a guy in the touchdown, but maybe the best play of all was he just ran a simple stop route and on our switch verts concept, and the ball was a little high and outside. I mean, it was an unbelievable catch. So he just tends to make those plays and big time moments, and throughout his career, and especially now at Texas State, he's just a really special player and a great leader. I think that's probably been the biggest thing from year 1 to year 2 is his leadership qualities, and how he's handled the off season, and how he's handled the preseason and training camp. And then on Saturday when kind of things were snowballing on us, I thought he really rallied the troops, and not only vocally, but on the field as well.
We got time for a follow-up from Jacob. Jacob, please go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to know, Coach, obviously penalties, big talking point. Is there any position group? I know you guys were mixing in a lot of personnel groups, different people in the mix. How much do you think that was like personnel based versus just first game jitters?
I think it was probably a combination of everything, and that was the one thing we preached all off season, and you watch the week 0 and the rest of the week 1 games. It tended to happen to people, and so we were preaching it. So it's disappointing that we weren't better in those areas, but I think, like I said, anytime practice and scrimmages, that sounds good, but until you're out there under the lights and there's referees on every snap, it is what it is. So we got to continue to get better, and I got a lot of faith in our coaches and our players to get it right. You look back throughout the years as my head coach, same thing happened at UIW versus Southern Illinois. Had a big win, and we had a bunch of penalties. So I got to do better as a coach, and our coaches got to be better as coaches as well.
Thank you, and thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Yeah, hard fought football game against a really good Boise State team in a really good atmosphere at our stadium. Had a availability to get up in the fourth quarter and fell short. Lost 20-15 in that fourth quarter against a dynamic running game and a dynamic running back. It's our opportunity to try to go on the road now to Nevada against a team that's just had a great game against our defending champion in Troy, and try to go 1-0 on the week. And so with that, I'll take any questions that you have.
Appreciate that, Coach. Just a reminder to members of the media, just go into reactions and raise your hand. We'll be more than happy to call on you. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach Helton obviously mentioned the dynamic performance from Boise State, but Jalen White had a 3-touchdown game for you guys. Can you talk a little bit about his performance from your running back room?
Yeah, definitely. Really excited for Jalen. We put a lot of effort into our running game inside the 10-yard line, and I thought it Coach Applin and the offensive staff really had a good game plan against Boise, and Jalen executed, and the offensive line executed really well. You know, Jalen had 3 touchdowns on the day. JC had a rushing touchdown on the day. And, you know, when you get those tight windows in the red zone in the passing game, you hope that you can lean on your run game. And that's what we were able to accomplish.
And then obviously saw your staff, the Georgia Southern staff at large, push into Pac Paulson this past weekend, ended up being a sellout. Talk about the, you know, Georgia Southern fans coming out supporting you guys for a key non-conference matchup.
Yeah, this is an unbelievable community, and it's a community that's passionate about the game of football and passionate about Georgia Southern. And they showed out again to have a sellout crowd right off the bat against a really good football team in Boise State. They really helped jumpstart us, to be honest with you. You know, we started a little bit slow offensively in the first quarter, got some momentum, and that crowd just ramped up, and all of a sudden you look up and you're in the fourth quarter and you got the lead. And a lot of it has to do with that energy that was provided from our stadium and our fan base.
Go over to Wes Pruitt. Wes?
Coach, just to kind of go off that last question, you talked about it from a city standpoint. What does a game like that do for you from a program and from a university standpoint?
Yeah, definitely. You know, you want to win the game. I've said if you want to be a part of a national conversation, you got to do big things. And, you know, Boise State was a program that I think has a great reputation, a lot of respect this year with the team that they have, a defense that was a top 10 defense coming in that had not lost really anything. And we knew it was going to be a challenge, especially, you know, with a running game and with a running back like Ashton. I'm proud of our kids for the way they fought, you know, being in the game every step of the way. I thought we had a chance to win the game. And that's, you know, our disappointment right now as a football team is we put ourselves in position to win a game on national TV against a with a national TV audience and, you know, fell short down the stretch. And so we've got the opportunity to try to bounce back and go on the road. Now we got our own road trip. Boise had theirs last week. Nevada had theirs last week. And now we go out west to try to go 1-0 this week.
Jump over to Luke Creasy. Luke?
Hey, Coach, what did you see out of JC, and just how do you evaluate that performance? You know, obviously did things well in the air and on the ground.
Yeah, definitely. You know, for your first start to go out there, protect the football like he did, you know, 0 interceptions on the day. He throws for 2 touchdowns. He runs for another one. A huge 2-minute drive right before halftime that, you know, we knew that we were getting the ball back in the second half also. So to be able to execute that 2-minute drive, score that touchdown right before half, and then in the most critical situations in third down, he goes 63%, not only using his arm, but using his feet. I couldn't want anything more than what he did in an opening ball game. You know, I thought he made great decisions. He protected the ball, had a tremendous deep ball accuracy, hit a number of different receivers. He didn't force the football. He gave us a chance to win the game and put us in a position to win the game. And credit to him. That's what good quarterbacks do. You walk in the stadium and they provide hope for your football team. And that's what JC did in this game.
Time for one more. Go to Joe Longeren. Joe?
Hey, Coach. To close the loop on Boise State, obviously a lot's been made about how good Ashton Jeanty is and how good of an individual talent he is. How do you assess your defense against anybody that is that level of talent, and what advice would you give to staffs that have to contend with him the rest of the season here?
Oh, one, I'm glad I don't have to play him again. That he is a talented individual, and we helped him. We helped also. You know, when you go back and we had 14 critical errors in the run game against a really good offensive line and good running back, plus missing tackles. And so when you do that against an elite running game, you're going to have a hard day. You look up, and we were really hoping to get a new quarterback into some 3rd and longs, and we only got in 3rd and 5+5 4 times, which the one interception came on 3rd and 9, and just wasn't able to get into those passing situations to be able to get to our pass rush and our coverage hides that have been so good for us on 3rd down. They just kept right in that ball control offense and really couldn't get them out of it.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Coach. That's all the time we have for today. Do appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Hail Southern.
Yeah, I mean, so, it's always good to start out 1-0. I mean, every team knows that whether you win or you lose the first one, there's a lot of work to be done to get ready for week 2. And we're certainly no different. We've got off to a good start, and you're pleased with those things, but, we going into halftime, there were some things that we weren't very, very happy with. We weren't running the ball very well on offense. On defense, we didn't tackle very well in the first half. So, we were able to kind of regroup, and certainly, it's nice when you have a lead at halftime where you feel like you can really challenge guys on some of those things instead of really trying to figure out X's and O's and what you can try to do in the second half to be able to win. But, we were able to address some of those things in the second half and do it a little bit better. But even, going back in and watching the tape, there are things that, for us, we got to work on our pad level up front on offense, straining to finish, staying engaged. And on defense, I think we had, for something we worked really hard on as far as, leverage tackling and vice tackling, things like that. We had some opportunities that we missed out on. So certainly gives us a lot of things to work on moving into week 2.
Thank you. We'll start off with Luke Creasy. Luke.
Coach, what was it like to see that kind of crowd there? I saw some pictures, and it was an impressive show out for the season opener.
Yeah, it was great. Our kids were excited to play in Cajun field, in the new look Cajun field. Certainly it seemed like our fans were excited to see it too. So fortunately we were able to put a pretty good product on the field, and that's what we want to duplicate week after week. And I think that's what makes college football so much fun. You got passionate fans that care about it. And for us, we've got a great schedule this year, great home schedule this year, with some really good teams coming into town. So, hopefully we'll be able to continue to play well on the field, make them want to come and see that. And certainly they'll continue to come. But I mean, it was a great atmosphere. Our student section was unbelievable. And it was pretty cool to see that stadium filled out like that.
We'll jump over to Sam. Sam.
Hey, Coach, how important is it to get a score from the defensive side of the ball, have Caleb come and have a pick 6 for you guys this week?
I told our defense, I'm good with them scoring touchdowns, as many as they want. So that's we're equal opportunity employer here. Special teams can get involved as well this week if they want to. So, no, man, it's awesome. When you get points, in unexpected ways, it's just a shot in the arm for your whole team. And it was just a really, really well executed play call on defense. I mean, it was 11 for 11, everybody doing their job. Cabote was certainly one of them. He did exactly like he was supposed to, dropped in the window, made the play, and then finished. It was awesome. One of my favorite things to do at the end of the play, when you have a touchdown like that, is to see the whole defense celebrating. You see those guys running down the field, man, it's like a party in the end zone. And that's how it's supposed to be. Look, football is not an easy game. Everybody all week long for 7 days, everybody's working their tails off to find the best plan they can put together to win. And, whenever you have some success, you got to enjoy it. So that was a huge play in the game. Really excited for Cabote, but he's a guy that does things the right way. So you expect good things to happen for him.
Jump over to Adam. Adam.
Hey, Coach, you guys got your first home game out of the way, but now you guys head on the road to Kennesaw State. What are some things you need to clean up from last week to get your team ready for, even after the good performance, but to clean up to get ready for your first road test of the season?
Well, the first thing that we got to do, and this goes back to last year more than this year. Last year, we were painfully inconsistent. And last year, we did not follow up success very well. We didn't handle it well. And this week is a test for us to see how much we've matured over the course of the past year. We'd follow up last year some of our best wins with our absolute worst performances. And those things are frustrating. And as a coach, your job is to get your team to play at a high level every week. So for us, more than anything, we have got to respond to playing well and stack that up with another great week of work so we can go out and go play well. Traveling on the road is another challenge, right? That's a different set of circumstances that you have to handle. It's something we're excited about, but that to me is the biggest thing for us. I kind of talked about the things we got to work on already, offensive up front, offensive line, tackles, tight ends, all that stuff, pad level, sustaining blocks, doing things like that to finish, to get some of those dirty yards at the end of the run, stay connected. And then defensively, we got to start faster tackling. It's something that kind of happened in the scrimmages. I don't know if we're overly excited or kind of lose our minds a little bit, but we got to tackle better to start the game. So, and that'll be challenged this week because this team, they're going to get you in space and you're going to have to make one-on-one tackles.
Time for one more. We'll go to Sam.
Just the last question for me here, Coach. But, as you turn the page now to look at Kennesaw State, what are one or two things you think you'll have to do well in order to, be successful in that first road trip that you're talking about?
Well, we're going to have to tackle better than we did. And we're going to have to play with great eye discipline. And I thought we did a pretty good job of that last week as far as being disciplined, playing where we're supposed to. We need to build off of the fact that we played a really clean game. We had one pre-snap penalty on a special teams play. Other than that, it was really clean. And that we got to do that. We can't hurt ourselves. But we got to tackle really well. When we have a chance to vice tackle, we got to do that. They've got good players. They're going to get in space. It starts with the quarterback. They're going to get guys on the edge, and there's going to be a lot of one-on-one situations. You make it, great. If you don't, it's a big problem. For us offensively, we're going to have to be very efficient. This is a team that if this game stays close like it did last week with UTSA, if this game stays close, they're going to eat away at the clock, and they're going to drive the football, and they do some things that give you a lot of problems on defense. So for us, offensively, we can help our defense by starting fast, by being efficient, by sustaining drives. Certainly that means we need to run the ball better in the first half than we did last week. We were able to hit some shots early in the game last week, which was really big for us, and we were pretty efficient throwing the football. So this is going to be a full team effort. I mean, we've played UTSA. I've got a lot of respect for that program. And that was a dogfight that they were in last week. So, we're expecting that this week. And, we need to be clicking on all cylinders to go out there, to go to their place and get a win.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Good to see everybody again. I would quickly just want to say and open up with wow to our Troy fan base. I think we had over 27,000 people at our home opener. The job done by administration and everybody to support us and get them here. Our student section, we grew it bigger and they made it for a hostile environment. And it was such a fun opportunity to start that way. Unfortunately, it's not the way you want the results to be though. And you wanted to give that fan base their first win of the year and go, but so much to improve on from game 1 to game 2. We look forward to making those corrections starting today and then move forward to a tough task we have against Memphis. I think the true sign of good culture and, of course, a good staff and players is how much do we improve from game 1 to game 2 as we go into this task at Memphis. So just want to mention how impressive it was to start here. The results weren't what they want to be, and we certainly work to get those better in our expectations. And with that, I'll open it up to you all. Thank you.
Appreciate that. We'll start off with Wes Pruitt. Wes?
Hey, Coach, when you look at Memphis, two things here. Number one, what are your thoughts on them as a program? And then number two, what kind of challenges do they present to the Trojans this week?
Well, I think the thoughts of the program kind of stand on itself. There's a history there from my time at Marshall long ago and what they stood for. And of course, I was a part of the staff at Penn State in 19 when we played them in the Cotton Bowl when Coach Silverfield got the job. So I'm very, very much aware of their storied tradition, their successful past and the job he's done going into his 6th season. With that, I would say that the challenges are extremely high in every phase. They're gifted and talented, so it makes special teams play very difficult. Their offense is explosive with a veteran quarterback that's very capable of getting them in and out of good plays, bad plays, all the above, and he can throw the football, and he's a good runner. They've got special players at wideout, tight end, and receiver. At running back. They're good enough up front to beat you up when they want to, but also pass pro and give the quarterback time. On defense, they're multiple. I'm very familiar with Coach Hankins. He and I coached together a long time ago at the start of our careers at UT Martin. I know him very well. I know him to be a great man, a great football coach across the board. So a lot of challenges for us that we'll have to answer to be ready for this game Saturday.
Thank you. We'll go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, obviously not the result you were hoping for, but is it reassuring for you to see Goose go through the 2-minute offense, be able to drive down the field, score that touchdown, at least put you guys in a position for that potential game tying 2-point conversion?
Yeah, you called it. I think it's anytime you go through growing pains that you go through in a season, especially with a lot of new, you're looking for responses and how guys finish games and how we play. And the approach by our defense to get a stop that got us the ball back to have the opportunity to tie that football game up was huge for us to operate in that 2-minute setting in a big moment and see your quarterback do that gives you a lot of positive things to pull from and a lot of energy moving forward. So it was good to see him operate that way. Not really a surprise based on how he's prepared and how he's practiced, but at the same time, it gives you some things to build on. Now we just got to bring the whole operation with us.
And then you talked about a lot of new. Damian Taylor's not new, but obviously first time as a featured back in the Troy system. How would you assess his performance this past weekend?
Well, I'm very happy for him individually, and then of course for our offense and what he will bring to our team. He brings a physical type and nature to him when he runs the football. Sometimes that gets lost when you're in fall camp. You don't get to tackle that much. So I think for him to defeat tackles, step out of stuff, and really do things with yards after contact is a sign of a great back and certainly what we believe he can be. And it was great for him to come out of that and do that. And I think we'll follow his lead with a physical style of running and who we want to be as a team as well.
All right. Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so excited to be back home this week, playing Southeastern Louisiana. Looking forward to our home opener. We're excited to be back here and back playing. Had a tough set of circumstances this week. I loved our physicality and effort, playing a really good football team. Disappointed in our execution, especially early. We just didn't handle all the elements. Didn't come out and play as clean as we wanted to play. We had our chances early in the game to stay in it and didn't make those. And then, it was just wild, guys, from the thunder, lightning delays all the way through to the game getting called. It was something that not many people have ever been a part of. So, but it is what it is. We're back home this week and looking forward to this week of the season and moving forward with it. So with that, I'll open up.
All right. Appreciate that, Coach. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach Hall, I guess at first, how do you deal with the adversity of the game being delayed at the start with the lightning delay? And then, how do you handle, coming out of the game now, the adversity of, not getting to finish that game and obviously the result being what it was?
Yeah, Sam, there's not a big handbook for it, especially when you're the road team. That's what Coach Stoops and I were talking about. When you're the road team, it's just hard. The home team's over there in their facility with all their nutrition and they're in their indoor warming up. And we're in a cinder block room just looking at each other, eating up all our halftime snacks. We had to go to the concession stand and buy more food. We ate pregame meal at like 3:45. So it's just a unique set of circumstances. Then you get a 20-minute warm up and you're playing, and then the game gets called. Our kids did not want that. We did not want that. We wanted to play the game, and but it is what it is. Those things are out of our control. What we can control is how we respond, and we can control how we play this week. And we're looking forward to preparing and getting back home and playing this season.
Go over to Heath Hinton. Heath?
Hey, Coach. Wanted to ask you about that fake punt call at the end of the first half. Coming out of the timeout, was it something that y'all saw while scouting them, or was it a look they gave you during the game that you went to that? Just wanted to ask about that call.
Yeah, we had gone 3 and out 3 consecutive drives, and they had scored on the previous 2 drives. So I felt like we were really tired on defense, and I felt like it was something that we had there. It was there. They had one guy make a really great play,
came off of a block and inserted right there and made a tackle on Ethan. I thought Ethan could get 4 yards versus that look. And but it was more about how the game was going. They had scored 2 consecutive times. We had gone 3 and out, 3 consecutive drives. Our defense was extremely tired, and it was 17-0. We were about to punt and give them good field position again in a middle 8 set of circumstances where we were really tired on D and had played a lot of snaps. And I felt like we needed a spark at that moment, or the game may be about to get in a situation where we could be in a bind. And so made the call. It didn't work. And but those are the reasons behind it.
Go over to Scott Kirk. Scott.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Over in Lexington, the second quarter is still just a 7-0 game. Early, I believe it was on the first drive. You got the big pick from Dylan Lawrence. So, just going forward, how do you want that team to kind of play? Like that, staying in ball game instead of maybe just having some self-inflicting stuff.
Yeah, we played extremely hard and extremely physical. Man, we were hitting. I think we won a lot of one-on-one battles. Our kids came out of that game extremely confident with their ability to play the game. We've just got to play smarter and cleaner. The second we hit the flea flicker on the first play of the game, the second play of the game, we misread an RPO, and Drake Clark's running down wide open through the side of the field, and instead we throw a tipped pick. Then it's 7-0, and we're in the low red, about to make it 7-7 or 7-3. We get another tip pick, and then the very next series we drop a pick 6. If you change those 3 plays around, we're sitting there up 17-7. So we've got to execute better. We have the talent and the physicality now to do that, and we've got to execute better. And I think our kids will calm down and play much better this week. That's our point of focus this week. And excited about this football team. I really am. I think extreme set of circumstances we went through, didn't manage some opportunities early well with some new guys. I think we'll learn from it, and excited to play game 2.
Go over to Dimma Mixon. Dimma.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. I wanted to ask about Tate Rodemaker. I thought he looked really strong in the pocket in his passes and his reads outside of those 2 interceptions, as you said, which I felt fundamentally changed the game. And like you were saying, it could have been 17-7 versus 7-0 or whatever it was.
Yeah, Tate, like you said, you hit the nail on the head right there, Dima. Outside of about 2 or 3 plays, he played pretty dadgum well. We got to play a little better around him. All in all 3 phases, we played extremely hard and physical and won a lot of one-on-one matchups. We've just got to collectively go from getting the call to the snap, and that gap in between those 2, we've got to slow down and think better and be a little less emotional. I think there was a lot involved in that. Our kids know that the Sun Belt's 12 and 169 versus the SEC in the last 24 years. We wanted to be that 13th win. We think we've got the team to do that. We think that'll happen at some point over the next few years. And they were extremely emotional and wanted to win this game, wanted to lay it on the line. We wish we could play it again, but we got to learn from that and handle that better. And that's the point of emphasis today and through this week is being a little more emotionally intelligent and allowing our talent to play better because we are a little more calm.
All right, Heath, do you have a follow-up there?
Yeah, I do, Coach. I wanted to ask you about the delays and everything. Now that you've been through it, you think there's something maybe the NCAA could do to change that? Because how difficult is it for you guys to warm up, go back in, warm up, and are you worried about injuries at that point, especially with it getting later in the evening? Is there something maybe they could change to help you guys with that when a situation like that happens?
Extremely worried about injuries. That was the number one concern. Nutrition was a concern, but Heath, none of that tops getting that check. You know what I mean? We have to get that check, and to get that check, we got to play that game. So ultimately that's how we all pay our bills, and that's just the way it is when you're a group of 5 football team. So we got to play the game some way, shape, or form, no matter how long it lightnings or what. And administrations worked together, and we played as long as we could.
Time for one more from Scott. Scott.
Coach, just to go back to, speak about the rain, when you're having that conversation with the, all the officials and the guys up top and stuff, like, have you ever been in that situation? How unique was that for you to be a part of that just whole situation with the delays and then the end where they terminate it?
Yeah, I thought, I mean, it just is what it is. It's crisis management. That's what we do. You know, that's what leadership does. I thought Jeremy McLean was incredible. Shawn Jones, deputy AD, was incredible. Coach Stoops in Kentucky were great. They offered us some more snacks and nutrition and brought it over through the deal to help our kids out. It's just unfortunate because when you're the road team, you don't have the facilities to do, like Kentucky could be ready as soon as they wanted to play because they got their indoor. I mean, they're ready. I mean, we have no way to get ready until it goes. It just is what it is. The visiting team's always at a disadvantage anytime something like that happens. I don't know if there's a good answer for that.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining
Thanks,
us.
guys.
Yes, first of all, happy Labor Day to everyone. And I know in football world, it's a Monday, so everyone's working. But I thought it was a really, really good win for us against a very good football team, a quality opponent, a top 10 FCS program. I think sometimes you need to win games like that where you don't play your best, but you find a way to win the football game. I thought our kids showed resiliency. I thought they showed great resolve. When you just look at situational football, we were able to close out both halves with a 2-minute drive for touchdowns. We were 50% on third down conversions, which obviously helped. But we created many natural adversities for ourselves, a lot of adversities we created. I think the biggest thing in moving forward is we take great pride, just like every program does, in winning the fourth quarter. And we were up 27-10 with 14 minutes left in the game, and we allowed an opponent to come back and obviously take the lead. I thought we lacked focus. I thought we lacked details in the fourth quarter. So that's something obviously that we have to get corrected. But, our goal was to be 1-0. We're 1-0. We always know that the monumental improvements occur from week 1 to week 2 with the team's improvements. So we're looking forward to playing a really good football team in Tulsa Saturday night here in Jonesboro.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Luke Matheson. Luke, you're still on mute there.
Luke, we talk about consistency and performance all the time, and I can tell you, you're extremely consistent.
It's showing that I'm unmuted, so maybe you can hear me now.
Yep, I can hear you.
Consistency is key, just not in that situation. But so Coach, I went back and I watched, and one young man that's new to this team that I thought performed well was Marvin Ham. I just wanted to ask you what you thought about him and how he played this weekend. And also, what do you see out of Tulsa and what do you got to do to prepare for them?
Well, we had 60 newcomers, or out of this 60 that played, 36 were newcomers or in their first and second year in the program. And I believe defensively, of our 30 players played, 19 of them fit that criteria. Marvin Ham's an individual who's played a lot of football over his career. He's at the University of Colorado. He's from Detroit, and been really, really excited about him. He's come in. He's really done a good job with our culture. He's becoming one of our leaders. I think he adds another dynamic to the linebacking core from a maturity standpoint, but also from an athletic standpoint. So we thought he played winning football for us. In terms of Tulsa, very big, very strong, very physical, completely different football team than they were last year. I think that's kind of the age of college football right now in the transfer portal and the rebuild of rosters and really being year-to-year football teams. They have skill. I really like their quarterback. He can make all the throws. They're physical on defense. So it's going to be a great challenge for us on Saturday.
We'll go over to Charles. Charles?
What's going on, Coach?
Hey, Charles.
Quick question for you. After the game, you mentioned you had 4 or 5 offensive linemen get hurt. Any update on anybody's injuries?
Yeah, I think, in football is a game of next person in. But when you really look at it also, 4 out of 5 of your starting offensive linemen aren't on the football field. That will take its toll on a football team. And I think that speaks a little bit to, the depth of our football program now. We did not play winning football up front. That was clearly evident in the second half. But, those individuals competed. Now we have to get a lot better. We totally expect to have 2 to 3 of them back We expect Jacob Bear to play this Saturday, which will be great. He's the leader of the room. He's our captain. He's kind of the anchor of the offensive line. So to get some individuals back, it's going to be a huge benefit for us.
Thank you. We'll go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach Jones, obviously the youth and the newness of your team has been a story over the past few seasons, but got a lot of key plays from players that had played some, pivotal plays for you guys in the past, whether that's Rahne, Cross, Wallace, Rucker. So does it show kind of the growth of the program and just where you guys are at now to see those guys being the ones making the plays for you when it counts in a close game?
Absolutely. When you look at all the adversity that created and, you're down with 50 seconds to go in the game and you got the ball on your own 30-yard line and to be able to take the ball down the field, and having that experience, our players have been through that. I think it's a byproduct of practice. We had a great 2-minute drill. On Thursday, we actually practiced that exact situation that we had in our mock scrimmage game as well. But, I can't say enough for an individual like Corey Rucker. I thought Corey really willed us to win. Some of the plays that he made, his effort, his energy, the contested catches, just that competitive grit, that competitive greatness. Corey was at a whole different level. And so I thought he was an individual who's been in our program that really willed us and gave us an opportunity to win on Saturday.
And we'll go back over to Luke. Luke?
Hey, Butch, I know you had Malik Hornsby in there a couple of times, tried to get the ball to him a few times, didn't quite work out there. But what are your thoughts on him and how you want to use him moving forward?
Yeah, well, I think Malik is progressing. I think the biggest thing for him is the overall knowledge of the offense. He's still in the infant stages of really learning the offense. So I think the more that he can handle mentally from the volume of plays and the inventory of plays, I think will serve him to getting him the ball more and more. He's work in progress, but I see him making great strides. And, he was in there, and I think as the season progresses, you'll see more and more from Malik.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right. You guys have a great week.
You as well.
Yeah. Myself, all the coaches and all of our players expected to beat South Carolina. We gave ourselves an opportunity to do that, but we didn't make the plays that we needed to make to get that done. So looking forward to playing a really good East Carolina team at home this week. And questions.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. As a reminder to our members of the media, if you have questions, go into reactions or raise your hand. We'd be more than happy to call on you. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, how important was the turnover battle in, South Carolina being able to come away with the victory?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we turned the ball over too many times. And then, the one we got off them, we weren't able to turn it into points and obviously that's a huge part of the game. So, turning the ball over twice and giving them less than 10 yards to go for touchdowns, that was critical in the game. And so we got to be able to, we got to do a better job protecting the football.
Thank you. We'll go over to Adam. Adam?
Hey, Coach, they took the lead back with 6 minutes after you guys had the lead going, or took the lead yourselves going into the fourth quarter. What were some things that, in spite of turnovers throughout the game, some things that you thought your team could have done better, or, if you could go back and play a play now, what would you do? Would you do anything differently to try to, close it out?
Not really. I mean, I think that the number one thing, I mean, obviously we got to take care of the football like we talked about. I thought we could tackle better. We pursued the ball and played really hard and played very physical, but we did not tackle very well. And that allowed them to sustain some drives and things like that. When I thought, in overall, I thought our defense played really well, and particularly our defensive line, I thought they did a nice job of controlling the line of scrimmage. So really the tackling and that was a huge one. On special teams, we just made some bad decisions that cost us some field position really early in the game that I thought gave them some points that probably they didn't, or we could have at least stopped.
Thank you. We'll go back over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, one of the bright spots for you guys on offense was Isaiah Pace. Can you talk a little bit about his performance and just what he brought to the table individually?
Yeah, I thought he played fast. I thought he played, for the most part, I thought he played decisive. There was a couple other things where, he probably could have made some faster decisions. Played physical, ran well with the ball in his hands and did some things there. So, he's getting back to being healthy. He's more than a year off his knee surgery now and that sort of thing. So I think that that's a big part of it. And he's been able to go out there and he played really well. And he, we expect him to have that type of impact for the rest of the year.
And then as you look to turn the page to East Carolina now, what are one or two keys to the game you feel like you guys will have to do to be successful in that one?
Well, we got to win third down. We were actually able to do that against South Carolina. We won the third down battle. One thing I thought was critical in that game, we didn't win first down, which we needed to. But against East Carolina, we need to win third down. That's going to be something that's going to be huge. Obviously, we've got to protect the football better than we did. And we've got to force a couple turnovers as well. So, being able to, that turnover margin will be a huge thing in the game.
Thank you. And I think, Coach, appreciate your time today.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, obviously, great to start off the season with a win. Really excited about the opportunity we have coming up this week against Virginia Tech, a very formidable opponent. Going to be a challenge. Read somewhere earlier today, they returned the most production in all of college football. A lot of their members from their team last year are back. So it's going to be a huge challenge. So great way to start the season, but moving forward, getting ready for this week.
I appreciate that, Coach. Well, we'll start off with Adam. Adam, please go ahead.
Coach Huff, Stony Brook game, you guys were able to get 3 quarterbacks in there. You were able to play a lot of players. How do you think that's going to help you moving forward, especially heading into this week? But were there any bright spots that you saw out of all the guys that you were able to play?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. We got 40 new players, so we really didn't really know what they were. We've practiced with them and, we've been through mock games and scrimmages, but you never really know until you get under the lights, and it was good for us to kind of get some of these guys under the lights and see what they can do, how they would react to situations, how they play in the flow of a game. Obviously, the quarterback position is a huge position, and being able to evaluate them in practice is one thing, but putting them in a game situation is another. So it was really good. We got a chance to evaluate all of our guys, how they perform in game. Now we can go back and kind of say, okay, this is what this guy is able to do. A lot of the things that we saw habits-wise in practice showed up in the game, so we can reinforce those. And then we can make adjustments now as coaches. Now that we know how our guys perform in game, and now we can put them in the best spot to be successful.
Go over to Adam. Adam, please go ahead. I think Adam is frozen and gone. We'll jump over to Luke. Luke, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the returning experience they have. Obviously a lot of their guys played against you guys last year as well. Does that make that game film from last year, extremely valuable as you guys prep and game plan?
Somewhat. Half that team for us is in the league now, so I don't know if they'll come back and play this week for me. I don't know if their NFL teams will allow that. But again, those guys are a year older now, and a big part of successful programs is overall development, right? They've been able to retain their roster, which is a huge challenge in today's game. And when you can retain your roster and retain your coaches and retain your system, the byproduct of that is guys get better. Guys anticipate differently, guys play faster. Coaches are able to make some adjustments, right? This guy is able to do X, Y, and Z, or he's not able to do X, Y, and Z. So it'll be good film. Obviously, we're different. They're a year older, physically and mentally, schematically. So it'll be a lot of what we've seen from them from last week to kind of get a true comparison. But it does help, when you're able to retain your roster, when you're able to keep guys in the same system, your installs and your teaching goes another step farther. The recall, for them being able to say, hey, we've played, some of the players that are at Marshall, and we know the level that they play at is going to be good for them. It'll still be a challenge for us because we're new. We're not the same offense. Defensively, we've changed a lot. Schematically, we're similar, but just knowing the personnel. I think Coach Seymour going into year 2 is able to do what they're able to do going into year 3, right? Which is just kind of take, okay, what can these guys do? What have we had success with? What don't they understand? Let's spend a little more time on that. Let's stay away from the things that cause them issues. So it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a challenge just because they've been able to have some consistency. And I think with consistency gives everyone a little bit more understanding of what everyone can do.
All right, we'll go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach Huff, you talked about players going to the league. Obviously difficult to replace a guy like Rasheen Ali, but how would you assess the performance of AJ Turner in his first game as the featured back in your system?
Yeah, AJ's been in the system for a while, or in the program at least for a while, and he's kind of had to sit in the shadows of 2 really, really good, running backs. Rasheen Ali, obviously, last year, Caitlin LeBourne the year before that. So he's seen how it's supposed to be done from a preparation standpoint to play at a high level as a running back. I commend him a lot because in today's world, the patience to wait your turn and improve while you're waiting and learn while you're waiting just doesn't happen a lot in college football. If I'm not starting the day I step on campus, I'm usually in the transfer portal. But AJ's done a really good job of staying with the program, trusting our culture, trusting our process. Developing behind the scenes, taking advantage of opportunities when he did get in games in years before. He's been a huge contributor on special teams, which I think helps with his development. And, now he's getting an opportunity and he's taking full advantage of it.
And then a new name for you guys on the defensive side of the ball, Mike Green. How would you assess his performance in his first game for you guys?
Yeah, Mike's been a guy that, I've spoke about a lot. I think he's one of the better football players in the country. I'm not just talking in the Sun Belt. He's a really good athlete. He can bend. He's got power. He's developed. When he first got here, he came here as an outside linebacker. We moved him to DN. So he learned last year how to play that position. Towards the middle of the year, the light really came on. He kind of was mentored by Owen Porter, which kind of helped a lot. He's taken a huge leadership role on the team this offseason. And while he's been a leader, he has not diminished his own personal growth and value, right? He's been able to go out and work just as hard. He's here in the building 6 a.m. He's the last one to leave. He's out on the field getting extra work while the coaches are meeting. At practice, he practices at a really high tempo. And I think, it just shows up. Your practice habits become game reality. The way he played is the way he's been practicing since camp started. I'm really excited about the opportunity to watch him continue to develop and grow and have success.
And then last one for me, Coach Huff. Obviously, you guys were successful against Virginia Tech last season. What were some keys to that game for you guys? And do you feel like some of those same keys will be key coming into this weekend?
Yeah, well, it's a personnel game. So we had 2 O-linemen who were playing in the NFL. That helps. 1 running back who's playing in the NFL. That helps. 1 DB who's playing in the NFL. That helps. 1 linebacker who's playing in the NFL. That helps. I don't know if the keys to success will be the same, but I do think in anytime you play any opponent, that's going to be a challenge. We got to take care of the football. That's going to be a huge piece. We were able to do that last week. You can't turn it over when you play really, really good teams like Virginia Tech is. We got to tackle well. You can't have the leaky yards. You got to strike the guy, wrap him up, and get him on the ground. They have strong runners. Their quarterback's a strong runner with a strong arm. Their skill guys are electric, so we got to get those guys on the ground. And then we got to take advantage of the opportunities that come our way, right? If we get an opportunity to get our hands on balls, we got to make sure we catch them. If we get an opportunity to tackle them at the line of scrimmage and not let them bounce it to the edge, we've got to do that. And then ultimately it comes down to discipline, right? We got to make sure we're looking at the right things on defense, our eye keys and eye control. We got to make sure as a quarterback, we're looking at the coverage the right way so we make the right decisions. Ultimately, it's going to come down to how well of a week we have in practice here, how we prepare. We got to play extremely hard because they play extremely hard. I got a lot of respect for Coach Pry and the way his team plays. And then hopefully some of these guys on my team right now are future NFL guys, so the execution comes in on game day. And then those 3 things we got to be able to, control. It starts with how we meet and practice today. It's going to continue throughout the week. When we get there, it's going to be a hostile environment. Blacksburg is a difficult place to play. This is their first home game. Their fans are excited about this season. And then we got to make plays when we get an opportunity to.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody. Happy holiday.
Thank you. Yeah. Obviously a disappointing result last weekend against North Texas, but kind of flushed the game, moved on towards Ohio, and our focus has been there since this morning. Just about the game real quick before moving on to our opponent, just, proud of the first half we had, just disappointed in our third quarter, the way we came out in the second half. Lack of discipline, some penalties. We're able to overcome them with some big plays on offense, but defensively weren't playing near well enough to overcome those type of penalties. We had to count on every stop we could get at that point, but on to the next opponent. Had our practice this morning, flushed the game with the guys, talked about what we need to get better at, where our focus and our mental intensity needs to be on those things. And, we need to fix those problems going into week 2.
Appreciate that, Coach. Just a reminder to our members of the media, if you have a question, go to reactions, raise your hand. Happy to call on you. We'll start off with Adam. Adam?
Hey, Coach. As you mentioned, the defensive issues, but on the bright side, Gio Lopez had a huge game offensively. What were some of the things that you really liked about what he was doing to, keep you guys in the lead, heading into the locker room at half, and then, even when things kind of got away in the second half, he was still, spreading the ball around. But what were some takeaways that you have that you really liked out of what you saw on the film from him?
Yeah. Number one, just relentless competitor. He was willing our team into the game late. He played with just great passion and competitiveness, and I thought it spread on the offensive side of the ball. Second thing, he was just making great decisions with the football, not putting the ball in tight spaces and putting the ball in jeopardy. When things were covered, he was extending plays, using his feet, and he was hitting open people. We didn't have a lot of times where we got people open through scheme and missed them. So we were hitting them when they were open. When they were covered, we were making good decisions and extending the play. And then we were playing for 4 quarters. And as a quarterback, that's the number one thing, just your competitiveness and how it spreads on your side of the ball.
Go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, how different is it having Gio in the backfield for you guys versus Carter the last couple of years? Maybe a little bit more of a dual threat for you.
It is different. It is different. That's the way the game is going. And it's been that way for a while. I mean, it's not like it just started. But that's the dimension that people are trying to find at the quarterback position. And that's how you're able to extend plays and create explosives. And I think you see over the last 25, 30 years of football that's really been the trend in terms of that quarterback position. Number one, he's got to be a great decision maker. When you do get him open, he can't miss. He can't be a track star who can't complete passes. But it's a guy that can extend plays, and you're just not going to call 75 perfect plays in a game or 80 perfect plays. And so when you have a guy that can extend it, erase some of the mistakes you may make as a coach and create explosives instead of just getting through the down, that's a tremendous advantage as an offense.
And then, Coach, what is it about, whether it's your offense or the South Alabama program, where it seems like you guys always have that marquee wide receiver that, obviously got a couple in the NFL now, but Jamal coming out and having a nearly 200-yard performance in week 1?
Well, performances and things like that, that's a testament to the players, their work, how much time they put in, the position coach developing, putting them in that position, the play caller, put them in that position to make the plays, and then ultimately the player makes the play right on Saturday. So this is something that, it doesn't belong to our scheme. We try to get we're no different than any other offense. We're going to try to get the ball to people that can score. And if we're not doing that, we're wasting our time. So Jamal is one of those guys that's proven time and time again, he can finish on the ball downfield. He can create run after catch yards. So he's a guy that we're obviously trying to get the football to. And we have other players like that as well. But I just, I like to give a lot of credit to the player for preparing himself and then ultimately going out there on game day and performing when it matters most.
Go over to Adam. Adam?
Coach, you guys, had your first home game, and now you guys are going to go on the road. What are some challenges Ohio is going to present to you guys?
Well, they play well at home, and they're a really good program. And Coach Altman's done a great job with them. Since he took over, the last 2 years are a 10-win program. They're constantly in the hunt for their title in their league. I know they lost some guys on both sides of the ball, as we all have at this level. But you replace them with really good players and players that have played a lot. And I think they play really well on the defensive side of the ball. They were top 10 defense last year. Offensively, they've got a great quarterback. They've got good wide receivers. They get good backs. They block well up front. Very balanced as an offense. Do not have a lot of mistakes in their execution. They don't create a lot of windows of opportunity for you as a ball club to take advantage of. I think they're very sound. I think it's a very tough opponent. It's only, that's what I told the guys after the game on Saturday is it doesn't get easier. I mean, we're playing a program that was top 10 defense, 2 10-win seasons. They're accustomed to winning. They're accustomed to winning at home. This is something you're going to have to prepare for and understand what type of opponent you're getting ready to go play.
All right. Appreciate that. And appreciate your time, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.